UFC 318 full card picks and breakdown. First fight of the night. We're in the women's flyweight division. Carly Giudice is taking on Nicole Cagliari. Now both girls are looking for their first win in the UFC. Nicole, she lost her UFC debut, and Carly Giudice, she has had back-to-back losses, so she's probably fighting for a UFC career at this point. Let's be honest, 3 losses on the bounce. When you just come to the UFC, you're probably getting sent back to the regional scene, so she'll be coming in here fighting for a UFC career, but she's only 26 years of age, so should she lose, there's no reason why she can't bounce back, build herself back up and get back into the UFC, whilst Nicole, she lost her UFC debut. She'll be looking to get the victory in this one and then build off of that and try and get a victory in her next fight afterwards and, you know, hopefully stay within the UFC. But I'm leaning towards Nicole to get the victory in this fight. She's 28 years of age. She's had 11 pro fights, slightly bit more experience than Carly, who's only had 6 professional fights at this point. So, yeah, I'm leaning towards Nicole to get the victory in this fight. Then we move to the middleweight division. Bruno Ferreira, the Hulk, taking on Jackson McVeigh. Jackson McVeigh, UFC debut. He's 26 years of age, I believe. 6'3", 77-inch reach. He's a big, tall, rangy guy. And yeah, Bruno Ferreira only 5'8". So Jackson McVeigh, he'll have to utilise his range, utilise maintaining distance, try pick off Bruno potentially from the outside. He doesn't want to get caught in a barn burner with someone like Bruno Ferreira, who hits hard, he throws combinations, and he's got a submission game. So yeah, how do we think this fight is going to play out? I think Jackson McVeigh, 6-0, UFC debut, going up against someone like Bruno Ferreira, the whole bright lights of the UFC, and he's got an opponent like Bruno Ferreira, might be a bit of a tough task. So I'm leaning towards Bruno Ferreira to get the job done in this fight. Then we move on to the heavyweights. You got Lucas Bresky going up against Ryan Spann. Now, I'm leaning towards Ryan Spann, if I'm being honest. Lucas Bresky, he's a bit up and down at times. So is Ryan Spann, but Ryan Spann hits hard and he has got some good finishes within the UFC. Both guys 33. Ryan Spann edging him in height, 6'4" against Lucas, who's 6'3", and only a 78-inch reach compared to a 79. So not much difference in that either. But yeah, I'm leaning towards Ryan Spann. More experienced guy. He's had 33 pro fights. Lucas Bresky 9-6-1, and yeah, Ryan Spann hits hard, so I'm leaning towards Ryan Spann to knock Lucas Bresky out. And yeah, then we go on into the light heavyweights, and you got Marcin Prachnio at 36 years of age taking on Jimmy Crute, who's 29, and everything else pretty identical, both 6'2" and 74-inch reach for the pair of them. But I'm leaning towards Jimmy Crute. He's very well-rounded, and he's 29 years of age. I think Marcin Prachnio is potentially on the way out at this point, and I think Jimmy Crute will be able to navigate his way through the fight and get a victory. Then we have Adam Fugit taking on Islam Dolotov. Don't know a lot about Islam. Never seen him before. He's on his UFC debut, but he is 11-1, and he's 26 years of age, 10 years younger than Adam Fugit, who's 36. Pretty similar on the stats, you know, 6'1", 6'2". Islam's the one who's 6'2". 75-inch reach for Islam, 77 for Adam Fugit. Adam Fugit's fought some good opposition in his time during the UFC. You know, he's gone up against Michael Morales. He lost that fight. He did win his last fight in the UFC against Josh Quinlan. He also lost to Mike Malott. He beat Yusuke Kinoshita. Don't know if I said that right, but yeah. On his UFC debut, he did go up against Michael Morales and he came up short, but he took him to the 3rd round at least. Same with Mike Malott, you know, he lost by submission in the 2nd round, so he's not, you know, just getting blown away immediately by these guys. He does test people, and I think he's going to test Islam Dolotov, but I am leaning towards Islam to get the victory in this fight. It's just what my gut's telling me. Then we move on. Atiba Gutierrez taking on Robert Valentin. Now, Atiba Gutierrez, very athletic, and he likes to strike. He's got bombs in him. He throws combinations. He's explosive. He's got a good takedown defense as well. I saw him in the Contender Series and I saw his UFC debut. He was very impressive, and I've been looking forward to seeing him back in action. And he's going up against Robert Valentin, who came off the Ultimate Fighter Series. And I'll be honest, Robert Valentin, I didn't see anything too special out of him. Like when I saw Atiba Gutierrez, I was like, bloody hell, this geezer's impressive. I want to see a bit more of this guy. Whilst Robert Valentin didn't really leave me with that kind of feeling. You know, he's 30 years of age. He's 6'2". He's 77-inch reach. So, you know, Atiba, 23 years of age. I think that's what stood out to me as well. I saw this guy and I thought, you know, he's athletic, he's explosive, he throws combinations, got good takedown defense, and he's pretty young, 23 years of age. So, yeah, as you can probably tell, I was impressed by Gutierrez, and that's who I'm going to be backing. But, you know, 6'3", Robert Valentin 6'2". Atiba's actually got the longer reach, 81-inch reach on him compared to Robert Valentin's 77-inch reach. I don't see too many paths to victory for Robert Valentin unless he can somehow get this fight to the ground to avoid the explosiveness, maybe wear Gutierrez out, maybe take him to the later rounds. Then we don't know. Maybe Gutierrez, with all that muscle, he might start to gas, he might start to fatigue. His muscles might start to, you know, arms might start to drop. He might start getting filled with, bloody hell, what's it called? It's gone from me. You know, lactic acid. It might start to take over his body. He might start to get tired. So, yeah, who knows? But I am leaning towards Atiba Gutierrez to get the job done in this fight. Potentially by knockout as well. And then we move on. Welterweight division. Francisco Prado taking on Nikolai Veretennikov. Now, Francisco Prado, another young guy, 23 years of age also. And he's going up against Nikolai Veretennikov, who's 35 years of age in the welterweight division. And he hasn't really, you know, made much of himself so far. You know, all due respect to him. It could possibly be the end of the road for him should he lose to someone like Francisco Prado, who I am leaning towards, if I'm being honest. You know, he is short, you know, for the division, 5'8" as a welterweight, and he's going up against Nikolai, who's 6'1". Nikolai also has a 5-inch reach advantage, 74-inch reach against Prado's 69-inch reach. But yeah, I'm leaning towards Francisco Prado. From what I saw of him, he likes to apply pressure. He likes to march his opponents down. He's a very skilled striker. He's a very well-rounded guy as well. So I'm just leaning towards him. I think he's gonna dictate where the fight takes place, and he's gonna land his shots, and he's gonna get the victory against Nikolai Veretennikov. Then Marvin Vettori taking on Brendan Allen. Now, I was surprised this fight's not on the main card, to be honest, or at least the featured prelim. But Brendan Allen, you know, there's a bit of tension between these two before we move on. That's why I was surprised by it. And they both got good name value in this, you know, the middleweight division and within the UFC. So, but yeah, Brendan Allen, very skilled fighter, very well-rounded, clean, crisp striking. Compared to Marvin Vettori, his striking is a bit scrappy at times. And I think Marvin Vettori's main path to victory would be to take Brendan Allen down and control and dictate the fight where it takes place, that being on the ground. I know I said that a bit weird, but we got there in the end. And yeah, Brendan Allen, I think he's got enough within him to be able to nullify the takedowns and the advances of Marvin Vettori, and he's be able to choose where he wants the fight to take place. And I believe that would be the safe bet. Keep it standing, keep it in the striking distance, keep Marvin on the end of his punches, and yeah, potentially get the finish. But Marvin Vettori is a tough guy, man. It's going to be hard to finish him, so he's better be prepared to go all 3 rounds. Brendan must be. So yeah, but that's what I believe. I think Brendan's going to be able to stop the takedown advances of Marvin Vettori and keep it striking, keep him on the end of his punches, utilize he's only got 1-inch reach advantage, but he's 6'2", so sometimes that kind of makes it seem a bit longer when you're trying to get close to a taller opponent. So I think he's going to be able to do that, and I'm leaning towards Brendan Allen to get the victory in this fight. Then, featured prelim, Vinicius Oliveira taking on Kyler Phillips. Vinicius, so far, undefeated in the UFC. Kyler Phillips, very skilled guy, very fan-friendly, entertaining style, shall I say. Calls himself the Matrix, and I can see why. He's flashy. He's got some good little tricks in his arsenal. But Vinicius Oliveira, I think he's going to be able to get the victory. I think, you know, being undefeated so far in the UFC, he's going to be very motivated. He's going to be full of confidence. Whilst Kyler Phillips, he's had a bit of a rocky road at times. He's fought some good guys, but he's came up short at times. Whilst Vinicius, you know, in his last fight, he stopped Said Nurmagomedov. Went all 3 rounds with him, won by decision. He also beat Ricky Simon in the fight before that. And we all know Ricky Simon is a very talented fighter. And yeah, this will be Vinicius' 4th fight in the UFC, and I think he's going to get another victory in this fight. Main card action. Yeah. So, Michael Johnson taking on Daniel Zellhuber. This should be a cracking fight as long as it lasts. But Michael Johnson, 39 years of age. In the lightweight division, he's getting on a bit, whilst Daniel Zellhuber, I believe, is 26, 13 years younger, and he's also got a height and reach advantage. He's 6'1", 77-inch reach, whilst Michael Johnson 5'8", 73-inch reach. Now, both guys love a scrap. Michael Johnson is going to be up for a fight. He's going to try explode into range. He's going to try land some bombs on Zellhuber, and hopefully he's going to look to knock him down. But I think Zellhuber is going to be a tough guy to do that to. And he's going to be able to utilize his height and range, height and reach advantage. He's going to be able to pick off Michael Johnson, and he's going to be a bit of a scrap at times, but I think he's going to get through this fight and he's going to get the victory and potentially stop Michael Johnson. But I would hate to see that. As much as I'd love to see a knockout though, I just love a bit of Michael Johnson. But yeah, I'm leaning towards Daniel Zellhuber to get the victory in this fight and potentially stop Michael Johnson. Then we go on to Dan Ige taking on Patricio Pitbull. Now, Pitbull was a bit underwhelming in his UFC debut against Yair Rodriguez. So I'm leaning towards Dan Ige at this one. Dan Ige, he loves to come forward, throw combinations, throw bombs. And from what we saw of Pitbull, he didn't really let off against Yair Rodriguez. Maybe it's because Yair Rodriguez is a bit of a trickier, longer opponent than Dan Ige. Dan Ige being a bit more his sort of height, you know, Pitbull 5'5", Ige 5'6". Maybe he feels like he can get in the pocket and trade with Dan Ige a bit more, but if he does that, we know Dan Ige can knock people out. So that might be a bit of a questionable decision to make. But yeah, I'm leaning towards Dan Ige to land in combinations, potentially drop or knock out Patricio Pitbull. Then we move on, welterweight division. Kevin Holland, the Trailblazer, taking on Daniel Rodriguez. This should be another great fight. Who doesn't love a bit of Kevin Holland? He always brings entertainment. So yeah, and Daniel Rodriguez, he's also entertaining. He's a good stand-up fighter. This fight, I can't imagine going to the ground. Daniel Rodriguez getting on a bit, 38 years of age. Kevin Holland, 32 years of age. Similar sort of height between the two of them. 6'2" for Kevin Holland, 6'1" for Daniel Rodriguez. But a big 7-inch reach advantage for Kevin Holland with an 81-inch reach. Now, Kevin Holland, he's a fast, clean striker. He lands on people, and I think, yeah, that's where I'm going to lean towards. You know, Daniel Rodriguez is a bit of a plodder. He kind of plods forward and lands his punches, but I think Kevin Holland will be able to utilize that range and pick Daniel Rodriguez off with his speed. And yeah, that's why I'm leaning towards Kevin Holland to get the victory in this fight. Then we have the co-main event, Paulo Costa taking on Roman Kopylov. Now, both guys are strikers. Can't imagine this fight going to the ground either. You know what? Before we move on, that's why, even though it doesn't quite have the big hype name value on the main card, what some people might look for, there's some cracking fights, let's just say that. So far, if I just look at this main card, I can't imagine any of them going to the ground. No one's looking or shooting for a takedown. The only way this fight goes to the ground is someone gets knocked down. You know, Johnson Zellhuber, Ige Pitbull, Kevin Holland, Daniel Rodriguez, Paulo Costa, Roman Kopylov, and then obviously Max versus Dustin. None of them are wrestlers. So, yeah, tune in for this one. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, Paulo Costa, Roman Kopylov. Paulo Costa, we know, likes to throw combinations. He likes to march his opponent down. If he closes them off against the cage, that's where he's really looking to let them punches go, let them hands fly. Whilst Roman Kopylov, he's a bit more of a sniper. He bounces in and out of range, and he tries to land a bomb, maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 punches max, and then he gets back out. And when he does that, he stops people. He has got finishes on his record. Both guys 34 years of age. Similar height, 6'1" for Costa, 6 foot for Kopylov, and 75-inch for Kopylov, 3-inch reach advantage over Paulo Costa. But I'm favouring Roman Kopylov. I think that footwork, that in and out sort of style, that bouncing around, will make it hard for Paulo Costa to get close and kind of close him down to be able to land his combinations. So I'm leaning towards Kopylov, and I wouldn't be surprised if he drops and knocks Paulo Costa out, maybe a TKO. But yeah, that's who I'm leaning towards, Roman Kopylov to get the victory. Then, Max and Dustin, the third time out. The farewell fight for Dustin. Will he ride off into the sunset with a third victory over Max Holloway? Or will it be end of the road? Max Holloway getting his get back, avenging his 2 losses, even though it's only going to be 1 victory, so it's still 2-1 to Dustin if he does. But yeah, how do we see this one going? It's a tricky one, because if a guy's already beat someone twice, your head's telling you he's going to do it a 3rd time. Simples. The first fight was many, many years ago, when I think Max was only about 20 years of age, and Dustin was young in his own right as well, and he did submit Max within the 1st round. Well, it's the 2nd time out, a bit later down the line. It was for the lightweight interim title. Max took it on fairly short notice. He stepped up. He didn't really prepare his body for lightweight, but he still went all 5 rounds with Dustin, and it was a cracking fight. Now, this time, both guys have had, plenty of time to prepare for each other. They've been in there with each other for pretty much 6 rounds already. You can kind of disregard that first one, though. They've both evolved and grew in their careers and their skill set since then. But yeah, like I said, my head's telling me Dustin. He knows what to do. He hits hard. He throws combinations, and neither guy, they ain't got to worry about the takedowns. Whilst Max, he's coming off. I know obviously he lost to Ilya, but I mean in the lightweight division, he's coming off that impressive performance. What we can see in the back shot behind us, Max was Justin Gaethje. What a night that was, and he's coming off that in his last time out when he fought at lightweight, and then Justin knocked out Dustin, and Max knocked out Justin, and MMA math don't work, but we can always look into it a little bit, and yeah. My heart loves them both, so it's hard to say my head's telling me Dustin and my heart's telling one, but I do love a bit of Max. Max is one of my favourite fighters within the organisation of all time, if I'm being honest. So I want him to get the victory, but I also want Dustin to get that farewell, that ride off into the sunset moment. But somebody's got to lose. Who do we think? Skill-wise, Dustin lands combinations. He hits hard. He can knock people out. He can drop people. Max, generally speaking, is a bit more of a volume striker. He likes to overwhelm people, and if he, before doing that, he tries to break them down. He likes to be a bit in and out himself, either all in or all out. He likes to snipe his opponents, use his hand speed to overwhelm his opponents. When he starts to see them wilt, that's when he'll step it up a notch. He'll go through the gears, shall they, as they say. And yeah, when he seems them breaking, that's where he really puts his foot down and pedal to the metal kind of thing. And yeah, can he do that to Dustin? That's questionable though. And yeah, I think either guy, if they're going to win, here's the problem. Dustin could potentially stop Max, but I couldn't see Max stopping Dustin necessarily. So yeah, it's a tricky one. But you know what? Dustin's now 36 years of age. Clearly he says he could still hang about, but he doesn't think he's got it in him to go for another title run. That's why he's choosing to retire. And when a guy starts thinking of retirement, he's already got 1 foot out, and we know he's got 1 foot out because he said he's going to retire after this fight. So one half of you could say he's going to leave it all out there. He's going to go all out for the last time. But if the going gets tough, is there that little bit of quit knowing, I'm done now, let's call it? And Max is 33, still looking to try and fight for the title, still wanting to build off of that. He's not looking at retirement. He's looking at next title shot. He's looking at winning this fight and building his way back to Ilya Poirier at lightweight now to get another title shot. He doesn't want to have to lose to someone in their retirement fight and then build their way all the way back up. He's looking to build off of Dustin to get to the title. So for that reason alone, I'm backing Max, because Max can't lose. Dustin, if he loses, it's sad he lost his retirement fight. But if Max loses, it's a long way back to a title. So he needs this win. He needs this win more than Dustin. So for that reason, I'm backing Max to get the job done. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you made it this far, if you have watched this whole video, make sure you're subscribing. If you don't subscribe, you've just spent 20 minutes with me. Show some love to the page, people. Like, yeah. Drop me a comment. Let me know who you think is going to win these fights. Whichever fights stand out to you the most. Which fight, other than the main event, are you looking forward to most? and make sure you're subscribing. And yeah, enjoy the fights. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.